Welcome into the Bobby Carpenter Show, and it is a Tuesday practice day. Cruising along, slightly before long. At the end of this week, there's going to be saddle up after the spring game. They're going to have a barbecue for the former players and current players and the families, which is always great. And then you get the spring game. It was kind of being called a showcase, but I think it's always been a game. There's guys out there competing and playing. It hasn't been a traditional game for 15 years since Urban got here. But the reality is, like, there are competitive elements to it. You go out there, you get to watch the players. So I encourage everybody. The weather, as of late, let me just check the most recent forecast of what we're looking at.
What's the Doppler? What's the Doppler radar show there, Bob?
Well, I don't think the Doppler radar is going to show you something for Saturday today. But I think we're looking at.
It says 35 and to 53 degrees,
Yeah, so at game time, it's going to be mid-50s, and it's partly sunny day. So you know what? It's a pretty nice little day right there, unless there's like some crazy howling wind. So if you're going to get 55, 56, 57 degrees, I'd rather have it be in the 60s. But yeah, you throw on a little coat, some sleeves or pants, you get out there. Maybe the sun's nice, it's shining. Go check out Ohio State. Go check out the players. Everybody always wants to know what's going on. Go see it straight from the horse's mouth. And so with seeing that, Schlegs, and that exposure, some coaches have shied away, and we talked about this. Matt Rule said, I don't want to do a spring game. What was his reasoning, Schleiks, for not doing the spring game?
Well, it's everybody can see their guys and then poach them when it comes to the second portal.
Yeah, portal poaching, kind of like porch pirates or lot lizards, things like that, Schleiks. You know a lot about those. But no one wants to get portal poached. And so you start to see some of these young guys who maybe for you, they're going to be like a backup or a rotational player at Ohio State or at a big time school. But then all of a sudden you go somewhere else looks at like, hey, you could be my number 2 receiver. I know that you're
Right.
the 4th or 5th at Ohio State, or I know you're the 3rd or 4th linebacker, but you would be one of our starters. And we're going to compensate you with that in NIL, and we're going to try to bring you in and lure you, Schlegs, into the portal. And so that's why some of these coaches have gone away from this. And I think that's part of it. I think injury stuff is another part of it. We're going to have to kind of see how water finds its level with the House settlement, which that is, I believe, tomorrow, April 7th. We'll find out what some of the rules of engagement are going to be for college football moving forward and college athletics, because this is the lawsuit that's been going on as far as NIL and now the revenue share. And if everything works the way it's supposed to, I think we'll have a lot of clarity moving forward. And so, not tomorrow, that came out, this should be coming out here this week. I think Monday or today, that should have been released. And hopefully, as it gets disseminated, there'll be conversations about what that looks like and how that's going to impact everything moving forward. So I'm sure we'll continue to discuss this as it goes along. But Grambling State's head coach, so he had a solution for this. And I honestly
Solutions
thought it
for
was pretty good.
institutions,
And
Bob.
this is where we're at. And so Mickey Joseph, who coaches at Grambling, this is the same thing like you have with coaches. If you want to have flexibility and ability to move, well, there's got to be something that's going to be punitive on the other side of that, because they've taken an investment in you. And after investing in you, what does that look like moving forward? Well, he's Mickey Josephs has he has an answer for that.
We understand. We understand. I think the kids understand if they're here and if they're sophomores and they have a big year and a group of 5 or a power 5 approach them and they have the finances to pull them out of there, and I can't match the finances, then you know what, they're gonna go. That's part of it. Coach has been doing it for years, so we shouldn't get mad as coaches when these kids make decisions to take care of their families. Like I said, I'm gonna say it again. Coach has been doing it for years, but I also think there need to be a buyout. If they move up for me and go to group of 5 and power 5, I should get kind of a compensation for that, So NCAA, if you're listening to me, I need a buyout.
But so that's kind of what they do in European soccer. It's a similar setup of how that ultimately works. So do you think that would help solve problems?
Well, I think that it would help. Here's the thing, though. So you're the one that found that kid. And again, I want to rephrase this. I want to clarify him. And he doesn't get the buyout, meaning personally, because he's the head coach. The athletic department, aka the football program. Now that's a whole other can of worms, right? Like, well, we want to take that money. What about all sports? No. That should go to the football team. Here's why. They're paying stuff for NIL. They're paying to get recruits. They're the ones that found that athlete. They're the ones that helped develop that athlete. They're the ones that put that athlete in position to be successful. What he's saying is, hey, man, that money's gone. We should get, Grambling should get, our football program should get a little bit of compensation for that development for them to go to that school. Now, how do you do that? Is it a flat rate? Now, based upon what he said, I'm like, man, all right, cool. If I go group of 5, hey, here's the standard buyout of anybody that goes from a Grambling, FCS, whatever, to a group of 5. You get this amount of compensation per player. Then, if that player goes, or a group of 5 even goes to a power 4, what does that look like in a compensation? I think it could probably be something that's a flat rate to make it keep it simple, stupid, or
Yep.
going to be a percentage of what the overall money is. Now that's on them to allocate it because they still got to get the player what the player expects, but they also know that this is a part of doing business and it goes into their expenses. So I do think there's a way. I do think that there needs to be something from all levels, whether it's FCS to FBS, group of 5 to power 4. All right, you go down, ain't nothing, man. We did our job. He wants to have an opportunity to go play. You get nothing. You get a great player. You handle your business there. You move up. We should get something because if we develop them, that would go back into our program to potentially give somebody else some NIL money. There you go.
Look at you. I mean, you're solving problems. Like, how many monsters in a whiteboard did that take? How long?
Zero. I mean, I only had like 3 cups of coffee today and 3 pouches of nicotine, but I'm good. I'm rolling today. I'm sharp. I got in an infrared bed, Bob, and I do the Alzheimer's program. It's not all that I have Alzheimer's. It's more of a cognitive.
You sure about that?
Yeah, 100%. But that thing literally wires me. I'm like dialed in. Boom.
How long do you sit in the infrared arc bed for?
It all depends. Like we had a ton of dudes, Josh Allen down there, and like we would do performance before practice or game, 7 minutes. All you need. If you do recovery, it's anywhere between 14 to 18 minutes. If you do the other programs that I do, there's one for anxiety. It's not that I have anxiety. It actually has more green light than red light, which is more calming. It actually helps improve circulation. I'll get in there just to kind of like woo-saw a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So those I do for like 20 to 21. There's a whole process.
Okay.
Yeah, man.
All right.
That's how I roll.
There's always all the different modalities. There's that.
Sauna. Brian Peters was here on last Saturday at the Armory doing a sauna, fire and ice deal, breath work. It's amazing. And I was never a big sauna guy, but I like it because I just go in there and sweat it out and like talk shop while I'm sweating. And I feel good. I'm 44, I gotta still feel frothy. Oh, side nugget, Bob. I saw this great thing about Arnold, and it was somebody else talking about Arnold's secret to calves. You know what they were? Because they're such a dense muscle, he worked them 5 days a week. Starting this week, I'm working them 5 days a week.
How long do you think it'll
Starting
be?
yesterday, I'm just going to do it. I'm gonna go measure. I'm gonna put it on my whiteboard. I'm just going to measure. I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to do it for a month of like 5 days a week of calves. I'm going to hit all different angles. I'm going to do all sorts of different stuff. Already got it in the old mind. Boom, it's going to be done.
I mean,
great.
We could get in the whole calf debate as far as, you big believer, like just calf raises, you want to do like incline walk with some weights.
I'm going to add that. Well, that's rucking. I do that too.
Okay.
Or stair climber, right? You just got a microdose, but the key is what? 5 days. That's what he said. So I'm just going to see what happens. It's a dense muscle. So you got to work it more.
It is. It is. It is a dense muscle, I guess. And I mean, Arnold should know. He probably threw a little vitamin S in there with it, Schlegs, which I guess would probably juice it up as well. Also, some big news. Looking at this, John Gruden, who I really enjoy, he's a really good football coach. He always did. It was the FFOA fired football, FFCA fired football coaches of America, or association, Fired Football Coaches Association, which is basically everyone. Like, there's 2 types of coaches: those have been fired and those that'll be fired. No matter how good you are, that's ultimately what has happened. And Gruden bringing back his little quarterback guru draft situation. And I always loved sitting there watching the quarterbacks and what they would bring to the table. And Gruden would sit there and talk with them and listen to their philosophies and everything else. And he's got it going on Barstool. And yesterday Will Howard's Monday, April 7th. I haven't had a chance to catch it yet, but it debuted. And so that's going to be something, Schlegs, on this docket on Tuesday. I'm going to find a way to sit here and check this out to see what he's about. So hopefully for the Wednesday show, we'll be able to break it down for you a little bit and give you some nuggets with our guy, John Gruden. So I would encourage everybody to go out there and check that out. How excited are you to be able to watch this?
Oh, I'm excited because, like, you know, like he's like, oh my gosh, like Chucky. You know what I mean? He kind of looks like Chucky a little bit, the scary doll. And I just can't wait to hear the process and his questions and the dialogue. And really, like, what I'm going to be excited to watch about is Will Howard and then Riley Leonard, Seth Hennigan, Kyle McClure, Quinn Ewers, Jackson Dart, just like where Will Howard is in comparison to them from mindset and football acumen. Like that's because that's what John Gruden is. He's the one that's recruiting those type of guys in his organization. That's why he's able to be successful. I can't wait to hear his thoughts and interaction with those guys and then compare those guys to each other.
Yeah, it'll be pretty interesting. They've got a nice list in there. I'm curious to see. Did you say Kyle McCord? Did I see Kyle McCord on there?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. He
Yeah,
is
so
on
Kyle
April
McCord is
16th.
April 16th. So what's going to be interesting is kind of Will Slidden. I'm curious if John's going to bring that up with Kyle and talk about his time at Ohio State versus his time at Syracuse, what he learned, how that ultimately looked with everything. It's very interesting to me to kind of see how that'll play. Do you think that he'll address that at all? Because Will kind of slid into that spot. And it's not that Kyle played bad at Ohio State. And I told people, I think he's going to go to Syracuse and play well. He'll probably be
Yeah.
a third-round draft pick, third, fourth-round pick, maybe even higher. I don't know. But I don't know if certain people, I think there's just a fit. And I don't know if Kyle truly fit as the quarterback at Ohio State. And not in a bad way, but his fit at Syracuse probably seemed to be a little bit better. And he went there and excelled, and I'm really happy for him. I hope he has a nice NFL career. But I'm curious, Schlegs, if Gruden will address that and talk about that at all.
Here's the best thing. I think it was a win for everybody. And Ohio State is just different, man. Like you come here knowing that you have to go take a spot. It ain't going to be given to you. You got to embrace competitive excellence at Ohio State. If you want to be like, hey, you're the man, we're going to pay you, we're going to give you all the confidence, right, and encouragement that we possibly can. Like that's where you need to be. Not everybody that is projected 5-star first round guys actually need to come to Ohio State. We'll probably talk about it more, what's going down in Georgia, but like not everybody that's great needs to be at Ohio State. Remember, it's about getting the right people on the bus in the right seats. That's what's the most important. And I think Will Howard for 2024, the Ohio State Buckeyes, he's exactly what was needed at the quarterback position.
Absolutely. Getting the right people on the bus. Well, Ohio State had a big recruiting week, huge. And I don't like to always get into, the minutia of the recruiting and the individual players, but I do think it is important when you start talking about the themes and how it looks and what's ultimately happening, who you're getting guys, where they're from, how that looks. I do think it is important to kind of touch on that because it's emblematic of where your program is headed and are you doing the things that you ultimately need to do in the right way. So that's a big, big part of it. All right, Schlegs, we're going to put a little pin in that. We got our friends from Export. Attention, parents and athletes. Protect what matters most with Export mouth guards. Trusted by professional athletes. Designed by NHL team dentists. Export mouth guards are scientifically tested to absorb those high-impact hits, protecting both your teeth and your brain. Export mouth guards feature 3 layers of advanced protection, including a patented use of carbon fiber. They 3D print that bad boy to your own grill. It is customized right to you for more protection, better performance, max comfort, and clear communication. Don't take chances with your safety. Go to exportguards.com/Bobby. Save 15% on your order. Export, protect what matters most. That way you focus on the game, not on the gear. Big week for Ohio State out on the recruiting front. We'll talk about it next. All right, welcome back in the Bobby Carpenter Show. Please, if you're watching, like, subscribe, leave your comments, questions, share this thing. We love it. We love everybody out there. Going to continue to get some players as soon as spring ball's over. Some of the guys as they're heading into the draft, talk to them and how that looks. Fortunately, we were able to have Lathan on this week. We did have Jack in on Friday. If you missed it, go back and check that out. We had Seth McLaughlin
Amazing
a week
show.
ago. We try to get a hold of maybe Denzel Burke, Travion Henderson, some of the guys that have been on before, and just kind of see how everything's going and talk about their journey and their path.
We got to get Q on here, Bob. We got to get Q up on this, man. I miss that guy's smile, and he's just big.
Well, listen, I that's one of the few guys. Not that I don't talk to Q a lot, but maybe that's something that you could reach out and find a way to talk to your guy Q Ball and get him on here. He was just here for 1 year, so I didn't get necessarily the full chance to know him quite as well. But you trained him, so that's a bigger deal. So you'll have the ability to ultimately.
We haven't had Donnie on here.
That is true. I had talked to Donnie last summer about getting him on. And I think timing wise, it just never really worked out. But I would love to have our guy Donovan Jackson on. Fun dude.
We're gonna get this done. I got you. Let's go.
All right, well, let's text Donnie. I mean, listen, I'm always open and ready for you, Schlegs, to potentially get Donnie on. You got to remember, we have Bill usually on Tuesdays, which I think I'm going to try to get him to move back to Thursday this week to see if we can get that ultimately done. And then also. We got AJ on Wednesdays usually pretty consistently. So outside of that, it's kind of open. So you got to make sure you can figure that out and see ultimately how that looks. But let's toss up the recruiting front here, Pat, with what Ohio State has been able to do. And this was pretty big. And we touched on some of this early, I think, last week at the beginning when this was coming out with safety Blaine Bradford committing the 5-star safety out of Baton Rouge, getting him over LSU and the rest of the SEC. Chris Henry talked about, we addressed this, I think, on Friday. Boom. I'm shutting down my recruitment. I'm going to Ohio State. Quit messing around. I'm not taking any other visits. I'm here to stay. But then there were 2 other big commits as of note. Safety Simeon Caldwell committing. I believe he is out of Florida, I think.
Jacksonville, bro.
Jayville. He's a Jayville dude.
The bowl school. Yeah, man.
So you think about this. We talked about Matt Guerreri, Schlegs, him getting 2 big-time safeties, probably the best safety class that you're going to see in college football. That is a huge, huge get for him.
Yeah, and Caldwell, I think, actually has a relationship with Tim Walton. I think it might be like I
think he's his nephew. Like, there's a relationship there. And so Walt, like those guys, here's the thing. Matt Guerreri and Walt, like they tag team on a lot of these guys because they coach the rooms together. And so they – boom, boom. They're always Top Gun high-fiving, and they work it together as far as that. So, yeah. And then Tim, obviously, if there's a relationship, a kinship there, then you're going to have that element as well. But what a big, big stinking week for that secondary group.
Yeah, I mean, if you go down that list, I mean, I think that, the safety 5-star, again, the 5-star, whatever, but where you got them from in LSU's backyard. Probably for less money than LSU was giving them. You got Chris Henry shutting it down. Then you get another 4-star safety. Then you got CJ Santa, who's a linebacker from Olentangy, the OG one, the Braves, coming from there, right? And then you go look at like some of the other guys too that I don't want to, miss out on. But it's like they have a tight end from the bowl school. I mean, they're just like double dipping. He's a 3-star guy coming in. But again, we forget Tyler Bowen, 1 month on the job, got an offensive tackle from Archbishop Hoban. You got another offensive tackle from Avon Lake, like the 2 best guys in the state of Ohio. Buckeyes. Like that was just of that weekend. But in totality, I think the 10 guys that they got have been very, very good. Right now, they're ranked like number 3. I don't even know what that means, but it doesn't matter. But it does do well when you're having guys like, I don't want to go anywhere else. I want to be a Buckeye. Win. And they're seeing it, man. They're seeing it. And this is a young team, Bob. Young team.
Very young team. And you get that national championship bump and the buzz from that. So that's always a big deal. You don't get it
always be buzzing
year, because those guys all commit obviously beforehand. But now seeing this and people seeing the culture and developing, and I'm going to throw this up here as well. When you start talking about recruiting and the culture and everything that happens, like you have to get parents to believe in you because they're passing off their son to the coach and to the program. And so it's not just, it's Ryan Day, but it's also the position coach. It's also the coordinator, and it's the group of players and young men that you're going to be around. So toss the Georgia piece up. So when I saw this is pretty remarkable because Georgia is one of the best teams in college football. They won back-to-back national championships. But just how things have kind of spiraled since then. Since January of 2023, Georgia has 24 wins and 25 arrests. And you start looking at this, the speeding violations, there's some more serious charges, but so much of that, and they've recruited still pretty well. But I know that that issue begins to rear its head up, and you begin to probably lose out on guys who have options to go to places with other great cultures. And they start looking around, like, is this what I want my son to be a part of?
Right.
Like, as I look at this as a parent, like you just went through this with your son, like, who are the people that you want him to be around? What are you promoting? You permit it, you promote it. How did you get to this point where this is the situation that you're in?
Yeah. I mean, if you go look at, this is business, man. Like this is business. It's college athletics. It's the same thing. But when you're a parent, who's the one handling the relationship? Who's the one that's having the side combos? Who are his teammates that are having the side combos? What do they want to be about? I think what really entices our guys and what I enjoy seeing and listening. I love to listen. I'm at my son's baseball games when I go back to Jacksonville. I listen. I listen to the dugout. I listen to who's saying back and watching the pitchers back healer if he's going to go to first base. I like hearing them talk ball. Like that's when I know like they're really into it. I don't need to hear people chirping. I like be enthusiastic for your guys. I don't need anybody talking to another team. I want them talking ball. And so like, what are they talking about? And you alluded to on the show. I mean, this was a hot minute ago, but Cody Simon and his seriousness, right? And then like the conversations in the building with Caleb and Lathan. And here's the deal. It's not that you got to be serious all the time. Like, why so serious, Joker style? But when it's time to work the game, you work the game. When it's time to have fun, you have fun. But who are the ones that are developing that? That's not just something that kids just come here and know. It's something that's taught and developed and praised, right? Or corrected if not done so. So, anyways, good to be a Buckeye.
Yeah, it really is, Suggs. It's great to be a Buckeye, and they don't have any of these issues. That's one of the things I talked with Ross Bjork about, and we start talking about how great of a job Ryan has done as a coach and on the field, and that's really, really nice, and it's great to see. However, what else is great to see is there's nothing ever to talk about off the field, and that's one of the things that is truly underrated is how great that is to be able to not have to worry about any issues from players, coaches, or whatever it is, ultimately off the field. And one of the coaches, Matt Patricia, started talking about developing those relationships and developing with players, recruits, and everything else. And people were wondering, like, can an NFL coach come into college who hadn't done it, in 20 years coaching college? How would those relationships be? Well, Matt Patricia talked about that. We'll get his words on that coming up next in the Bobby Carpenter Show. All right, welcome back in the Bobby Carpenter Show, and we love all of the support that you're getting us. So the comments, the questions, everything that you're throwing us, we appreciate it. The likes, subscriptions, everything, we appreciate that in a big, big way. I also appreciate Matt Patricia being at Ohio State and what he's done and the culture that he's trying to develop here. And the way you develop that culture, Schlegs, is through relationships, authentic, genuine conversations, relationships, the connection, the competence. That begins to build the trust in a big way. Matt, you want to throw that up, Pat, about here's Matt Patricia talking about building those relationships and what that's like.
Relationships and having conversations with parents, having conversations with, mom, dad, potential player for us, student athlete, telling them what and how we can help develop and grow, their son. That's really important. I enjoyed having those conversations. I enjoyed building those relationships. You do some recruiting, it's different in the NFL, but, so talking about things like football, scheme, all that's kind of the same. How do you use me in this position? Or what do you think about me here? The evaluation of the player, that's the same. But the beauty of it, or the extra wonderful benefit, is now we're talking about your son as a person. How is he going to grow and develop? School, learning, from being a young man into having to go into that next step. And look, for obviously the guys that are coming here, they want to go to the NFL. If that's their goal, that's certainly something I can help them with. I've had a lot of jobs in the NFL on both sides of the ball, and front office roles and head coach roles and all, coordinator roles. So I know what's required for that. I know what's needed for that. So just being able to talk to the kids and the parents, I know that's like a long-term sort of vision, but That's what they want to do after they get done here. So I can help them with that. So that's all been it's been fun building those.
See, and that's great. And so I want to play one more clip right after this because Tress, it literally plays in perfectly to the clip about Tress, what it's all about, the team talking about this, where you get a lot of coaches now in college football who maybe weren't educators, who haven't developed people the same way. And that's one thing at Ohio State, Ryan, they talk a lot about that holistic development that you just heard Matt Patricia talk about. Here's Tress talking about some of that same stuff, Pat, if we could toss this up here, about connecting, about building those relationships, about, the X's and O's. That's great. How are you going to use me? How are we going to deploy you? What are we going to do? Yeah, that's cool. You do that at both levels and everything. But if we could toss that up, Pat, when we start talking about it's all about the team with Tress as a person.
A little bit about in our current scenario, whether it's in high schools where many of the coaches aren't the teachers in the school, and so they weren't trained in education. In our colleges, in the old days, heck, for me to get the head coaching job at Youngstown State in 1986, I had to have a master's in education. And now, obviously that wouldn't be the case in college football. And so I worry a little bit that our coaches haven't been trained as educators. And then I think if you went on to the next level of the NFL, I'm certain that, and I just worry a little bit about it. Are we moving from education to entertainment a little too much? I don't know. My pet peeve. What I worry.
I love it.
All right, Schlegs, go for it, because this is you. You're the human development master.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think here's the deal, guys. I think the times have changed. I think education has changed. I think that our mindset shift of how do I educate cannot be, or how do I develop cannot be, this is the way that I did it. Now, again, I'm not talking about quantifiable principles of, human performance, right? Progressive overload. I'm not talking about that stuff. I'm not talking about X and O's and schemes and defense, not having to do anything with that. It has to do how do you present the information to the student athlete, doesn't matter, people in business. And to me, hey man, this is how we always did it. That does not fly. That does not fly. And again, I've said this many times. We have gone from, Bob, you and I, we're in our 40s, right? From, hey, when, what, why, when, do it now. What am I doing? Why am I doing it? Don't ask me. I'm the coach. Don't correct me. Don't ask questions. Just do it the first time, right? And sometimes, guess what? I say it to my kids. Hey, guess what? Do it the first time all the way with a joyful heart. I get it. I also can't get pissed when they ask why. I better have a reason. But that's needless to say. But kids want to know the why. And the better you can communicate clearly and concisely the why to get you to the what and then the when, the faster they go, the more buy-in you get, the better your relationship. And always remember this, like your yes be yes and your no be no. I always say parenting, I want to be the yes guy. I want to be the yes dad. When I say no, it's a firm no. And just like at Ohio State, guys, when I've seen this with my own eyes and NIL and the things that we talked earlier about Georgia, guys missed meeting with the nutritionist by like 1 minute to check in before a workout. They walked down the hallway, grabbed their stuff, and vacated the building. And it didn't matter. It didn't matter who they were, a Will Howard or a Jack, right? Or guys, profile guys that we all love, right? Missed the day, like missed it by 1 minute. Pack yourself up. See you Saturday. Guess what? I'll see your unit coach as well. The standard was the standard. The why as to why that is important, that nobody is above the team. And the standard is the standard, and it's there open. And if you do wrong, this is the consequence. Everybody said we bought into that. I know you overslept. I know they turned the power off, but the standard is the standard. And I think when you can communicate that why, you get significantly more buy-in. And they will, and I this generation, man, I appreciate them. They will go really, really hard in the paint for you if you can do those things.
But you got to be able to articulate it, and they have to know that you care. And so that's that human performance piece that Matt Patricia was talking about with the connections, competency, all of these different things.
Tell them what Tress always said. You and I say it all the time, man. They never what?
They don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And so that connection is what's built up. That's what builds the trust. And Ryan has like his own unique way of talking about it, but he's essentially saying the same thing that Tress is about how you build trust over years and what are the elements that that include into that. And so much of it is like they've got to know how much that you care about them, and that connection, the competency, the give a crap factor, like all of those things kind of boil into it. And that's when you have a special team like what you were able to see with Ohio State last I guess December when they went on that run because of that trust and that development that it doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to see that development Schlegs happen right now. And like we do something today and it's going to be better tomorrow. Well, the reality is in life, there's a lot of times where you do something today and you do it again tomorrow. You do it again the next day and the next day and the next day. And maybe after like 3 weeks, you see like a small incremental improvement. And then after another 3 weeks, it's like a small incremental improvement. And then after 3 or 4 more, it's like maybe a little bigger. And then it gets a little bigger. And like after months, then all of a sudden you start to see maybe some of those exponential gains. But it's a lot of investment early on that you got to be able to do that. All right, we got some other big news. There's some news on the CFP. Someone who we might know, Schleg, someone you might be familiar with is going to be on the CFP selection committee. And we got another black stripe alert for a really talented young wide receiver, someone that I'm very excited to see do some great things at Ohio State. All that coming up next on the Bobby Carpenter Show. All right, welcome back in the Bobby Carpenter Show. We have got ourselves some new news for you right now, some big stuff as we're looking at this. And I want to start with the black stripe alert first, Schlegs. There is a young player, black stripe alert, that is big, really big, because he's a big player. He's a tall dude. He's been making some noise. But number 11, Quincy Porter, lost his black stripe, and it's very, very impressive with what he's been able to do. And you start looking at the guys, and everyone knows, obviously J.J. Smith, Brandon Ingram,
Brandon Innes.
yeah, Brandon,
Carnell Tate.
Carnell
Mylan
Tate,
Graham.
Mylan Graham, like those guys. Boom, you're starting to see him. Rodgers has been making some plays, and all of a sudden, like Quincy Porter, like, okay, now here's a freshman out here. And you can see the guns. You can see what he's all about. You can see how he looks and how he looks strong, Schlegs, and that's big. That's key. And he's looking good. In one of the comments here on the Instagram page, someone says, any chance he starts over Innes? Well, Innes has been working in the slot. And Heartline says you've got your job and you can have a backup, somewhere else. You've got your primary role, and the more you can learn, the better it is. I don't know if he starts over Innes, but I know this, because Brandon's been playing really well, and he is one competitive son of a gun. You want him on the field. But Heartline will put guys on the field that deserve to be on the field. And so if you warrant your play and your actions are of that of a man who deserves to be out there, Hart will find a way to get you out there.
Guys, I mean, I don't think he goes over that because he's such a big guy. Like Jeremiah plays X, I believe. Like it's a little bit different. Bryson can play that slot. Like it's a shifty. It's just a different combination. But again, who's to say that they don't have 4? Who's that rotation? There's only one freaking football, and you got really good running backs, and you got really talented tight ends. Like we're talking about the same thing. The thing that is the most impressive about this, Bob, is like where did it come from? It's just the wide receiver room, man. It's like the black stripe. Like last year it was Jeremiah. This year it's him. So it's like Quincy Porter. Here you go, big dude, physical body. Brian, like what are you doing over there? You know what I'm saying? So kudos to the dudes. Also, kudos to Brian, like having his guys ready to go to get the black stripe off.
So,
Again, everybody, what does that mean? Like you're coming in, you're new to the program, you haven't like necessarily arrived there yet about how do you handle your business, the consistency, etc. And he got his off, man. Good for him.
that means that you're a dude. Like you're in the pack now. You're part of the pack anymore. And someone, they brought this up, and I hadn't even thought about this yet. I think he's the first freshman or one of the first. And they brought up, like, did he get his off before Devin Sanchez? Because Devin's been playing really well, and he's a very talented player.
I think he did.
Yes, and like if he got it off before Devin Sanchez, it wasn't because Devin Sanchez deserved to get it off before him, and they just wanted to give some charity out on the offensive side. that means that Quincy Porter's been out there just balling. And it's not always just your play on the field. Like you said, do you show up on time? Do you do the things the right way? Like, can we trust you? Because now that we got your black stripe off, dude, we can play you. You've proven to us that you can play and be out there. And so the fact that it was out, you got it off before Devin Sanchez, I think is something that is not of insignificance.
Yeah, I mean, listen, man, they're all calculated about this. I mean, this goes back to winter, guys. Like, it goes back to competitive excellence in winter. It goes back to how, like, what's the attitude and effort that they have when they come into the weight room? How do they deal with the people in the training staff? I'm not saying like they get better or worse, right? But like, you guys don't understand all these things that are considered or taken into consideration when you do the black stripe, because it can't just be what you do on the field. It has to do to how do you add value to the program. How do you add value to the program is, first off, be a good teammate. And do they handle uh, other people in the relationships and treat with respect and like train really hard and push each other? Like, that all like stacks upon itself to then come out in fruition on a practice field. Like, that's why this is so big.
Absolutely. And huge to see that, and really, really
Yeah,
nice to
man.
see that there as well. All right, that's going to be it for that. We got our headline Schlags coming up next, and I know I teased this.
Oh, tease it.
Well, because we got someone who's going to be on the CFP. I'm excited to see him do this. I think he'll do a
You know,
great job.
this guy. You know this guy.
Well, you know him too, Schlags. I mean, he was part of the reason you're at Ohio State, but we'll tell you who that is coming up next. All right, welcome into our headline, Schlags. We got a new sponsor for headlines, a new partner for us, brought to you by our guys over at Lake Spur Marketing. Lake Spur Marketing, they're a full-service boutique agency built on trust, strategy, performance. They're going to do for you what you need, develop customized programs and plans just for you. They're going to shield you and shield your team from those outside noise, the cold callers, all the nonsense that you don't want to deal with. They're going to allow you to do what you do best, because you can't work in the business and on the business. They've got 100 years of marketing experience. Lake Spur Marketing eliminates the waste and delivers on budget, which is huge, because anybody can get stuff done for you. They'll just charge you an arm and a leg, and it'll take forever. They don't chase clicks. They build those important partnerships and trust. That's why they're partnering with us, Schleiss, because they think you're a trustworthy dude. The proof is in their partners, our friends over at Lake Spur Marketing. So go check them out for all of your marketing needs. Another guy, Schleiss, that you can trust, and he was always going to give it to you honest and keep it 100, as the kids say.
Yeah, I did.
My guy, Mark D'Antonio. How about this? Going to be on the CFP selection committee. I loved to see that. I was super excited for him. Great dude. Guy will take his job. I think he takes everything seriously. So I know he's going to take this seriously as a heart attack.
We should get him on the show. He would be amazing. Honestly, Bob, we got to do this. 2 segments. They say we need you for 2 segments in between playing really bad golf with Bowles out there. Yeah, him and Bowles out there.
Working now. So yeah, maybe we can.
Yeah, it's just him and Bowles down there in Florida, like doing the deal. We can't get the lieutenant governor. Yeah, he's doing his thing. But I mean, first off, we'll take it very seriously. But this goes back to like, you need somebody to be the advocate that can, bring the clan, unite the clans. Unite the clan. We need a clan uniter of college football. And everybody was like Saban, but like somebody like Mark D'Antonio. We need somebody. It doesn't matter. I don't care who it is, but we do need somebody. I'm happy that he's on it, because he just has it from a different perspective as to like, what does a team actually look like? The more people that we know like this, the better. Now, I will say this, Big Ten guy. So as we start to look at like who's joining this thing, how many Big Ten guys are there? How many SEC guys are? We saw this in the tournament bracket. Like, we can't go down that road where somebody's like, oh yeah, you're in the dance, and like my affiliation is to you, So, but we need more people with his background and perspective that goes into what it actually means to be a top 16 right now, top 12, top 16 football program in the college football playoff era. And it was great that I got to, yes, he's a Spartan, but I used a Braveheart reference there.
I love it. I love the Braveheart reference. I think that's important. But Mark D'Antonio, awesome dude. And he'll bring everything in. He'll keep it football. And he's going to make sure that he thinks he's getting the best teams in there, whatever criteria they give him. he'll be able to do it and execute on the highest level, man. And you love to see that. And he's got ties all over the country and coaches that he's coached with everywhere. So he'll be one of the best guys. All right, that is it for this edition of Headlines. We got our tailgate talk coming up. We got some comments they threw out from the Jack Sawyer interview. People love that. And I want to throw this in here, Schlegs, because I don't know if this is just gross or resourceful, but it's something that you kind of do a lot. And I mean, it's kind of nasty a little bit, but you're a musky dude. Coming up next in Tailgate Talk. All right, now we're into our Tailgate Talk, brought to you by our friends over at Real Truck, where we answer your questions, your comments, your concerns, just like Real Truck does. They take care of you. So bring your truck, Jeep, or Bronco to life. Go to realtruck.com. Go check them out this spring, just like Schlegs and I have done. They'll accessorize that bad boy to the max. Got this in here, Pat, from the comments on Jack's show from Friday. It's from Stan, the Buckeye man. He's been commenting a lot on our stuff, and so it's pretty great. But said, "You're damn right, Jack. I was there when we first kicked the crap out of Tennessee, and it was louder than hell. No way Tennessee was going to even sniff a win. Then I went to the Rose Bowl, went to the Cotton Bowl, and I went to the Natty in Atlanta. Thank you so much for giving this old Buckeye fan such awesome memories. Thank you to you and then the entire team." Pretty remarkable stuff. And there's a lot of stuff like this from Steely Matt. Excellent show today, BC and Schlegs. Chat was amazing. Awesome, Jack Sawyer. And I hadn't heard this. Jack the Stripper, Schlegs. I don't know. Is that one that you think that name will stick? Because I mean, it sounds like he might be doing some work in the evenings as well.
No, that won't stick. But it's funny because I think I was in Charlotte flying to Columbus, and I was walking terminals, and I had to walk from like B to E, and there was a Captain Jack. I was going to take a picture and put that out there, but it literally was Captain Jack. Like that's his name, Captain Jack. Like that's what he is to me. Central Ohio guy, Captain Jack. That's Captain Jack Sawyer. He had like a little tavern there right when you got to like E, and I just thought of him. I thought of him. That's his nickname, Jack the Stripper. You know, you correlate that to somebody that was a serial killer back in England, and then also somebody that could potentially be a male gigolo. So I'm going to stick with Captain Jack on that one.
Oh, it is Captain Jack. All right, Schlegs. We're going to talk a little bit about this. This might even be for your parting thoughts, as we can toss this up here, Pat, right now. Is it gross or resourceful? New study is ruffling some feathers after claiming that by re-wearing your activewear, it isn't as bad for you as you might actually think. Some people think it's the right choice. What is activewear? Your workout clothes, folks. Are you going to re-wear your workout clothes? Now, Schlegs will wear his workout clothes all day long. He'll lift his jeans and a t-shirt and just smell like a pile of musk all day.
I just wear this. I just wear this all day.
So gross.
Right here.
You've got that natural musk to you.
Oh, just like enhance it.
Here's the thing. I can wear workout clothes all day. And I hate to do it sometimes. I just don't have time to shower. I'm like running around. I couldn't, and I've had to do this before, like especially like when you're playing in high school and like two-a-days, putting like your gross clothes back on afterwards. That is what's really bad.
So let me rephrase this, right? So I normally, Bob, like I will change my clothes. And as we build locker rooms currently at the Armory, working with the city, it's quite bumpy, but we're getting it done. That will completely change because then I'll change my entire routine and how I go about doing that. But I'll do it because like I'll work out, and like there's some days where when I work out, Bob, like I have to change my clothes. Normally those days consist of back and leg day are the days where I gotta change the clothes. Shoulder days, like what are we talking about? Chest days, yeah, you're gonna get a little sweaty. But it's like, boom, no. So then if I do go get sweaty later, it's at the end of the day because I'll go ruck or do something like that, like walk on an incline, and then I am sweating profusely and I have to shower. But I also like to work out in the clothes that I wear because I'm gas station ready always. But yes, this is a terrible study. I don't know why they would study this because if I do sweat in my clothes are completely saturated. Like they are disgusting. And I bring a change. Like this is my change of clothes bag. I just have random clothes, shorts, sweatpants, undies, some shoes, socks. I just carry a bunch, and they're in there all the time. Who knows if I got to throw a polo on? It's in the bag, but that's how I do it. But yes, this study, no, it is gross. It is inappropriate to rewear them. Nobody wants. First off, sanitize your stuff. Use a piece of equipment, and you got swamp ass on it. Hey, wipe it down. You know what I mean? Swampage. Okay, wipe it down. Right, wipe the handles down because you're sniffling your nose and you're putting them on the hand. Wipe the handles, wipe the butt crack. Okay, wipe where there's sweat. No problem. All right, but don't rewear them and bring that funk. There's only X amount of like good smelling things that I could get on a timer that can poof out good smelling salt like smells to the people. Right, part of that is you bringing in good.
All right.
Done.
I get you. I appreciate it. We got your parting thoughts, Schlegs, which I think you're going to want to see that coming up next. All right, so people ask in the parting thoughts, what does Schlegs lift in? What does he like to do? Well, he lifts in his normal clothes. Throw that up, Pat. Explain to the folks why you choose to deadlift 700 pounds in jeans.
Guys, this is so funny. You brought this back from the archives. So, like, I mean, you can. All right, guys, this is like Metroflex Gym. This is where I grew up. I was probably like, what year? I don't even know what year this is.
How long is it going to take you? What are we doing?
I'm chalking up. I put my belt on. Now it's kind of frozen. Oh, you just missed the back slap. That was the best thing. But those are Wrangler jeans. Now, here's the deal. This is probably later in the day. Brian Dobson, the guy who trained Ronnie, he's back there behind me. I got a good solid back slap, 700 pounds. And then guess what? After this, we continued to do back, and then we went hog hunting. So I was just wearing my those are my hog hunting clothes. Those are a pair of Wrangler jeans. Yep. I had like an American Eagle on the chest. Boom, let's lift 700 pounds. Let's go kill some pigs and hit up a Waffle House.
Absolutely. That was March 24th, 2010. Schlegs ripping 700 pounds off the floor. That's it for this edition of the Today Show. Hopefully we'll be on tomorrow. Our guy, AJ Hawk, around noonish. Stay locked in here on the Bobby Carpenter Show.